Yeah, I have the thing up here. There we are. I see we are connected. Let's get the... Oh, there. Yeah, there we are. All right, everybody. On YouTube. Sorry we're late this afternoon for Horsepower Hump Day on this beautiful June evening, afternoon, wherever you may be. Hopefully we're sounding good to you wherever you may be and wherever you may be listening. Appreciate you hanging out with us. A lot to come here on Horsepower Hump Day, but we have to kick it off officially. Hit me, Cody.
Live from the Lucas Oil Studios, it's Horsepower Hump Day.
Whoa, whoa.
Because every NASCAR fan needs a push of the old bumper to get him over that hump.
Stop. Oh, my God.
Here's Kenny, Crash, Richie, and Cole. Let's get humping, boys.
Horsepower Hump Day. Welcome in, everybody, on the SpeedFreaks YouTube channel. Richie Suave Flores here with you, alongside Cole Money Cusimano.
How we doing?
That's my new nickname for you, Cole.
Nice.
Because Kenny hasn't come up with one for you yet.
Yeah, just Cole Cusimano. That's
It's
it.
Cole Cusimano.
Cusimano.
So I'm going to call you Cole Money Cusimano because
go.
of the Money Stop, which you can catch every Friday right here on the SpeedFreaks YouTube channel. We'll preview that coming up in just a little bit. Cody Big Johnson behind the ones and twos. Hey-o. Over there. Thanks, Cody, for hanging out with us and helping us out behind the glass today. Here's what's coming up on the show, Cole. We got a good one, I think. We got coming up in about 25 minutes or so. Cole and I got a chance to catch up with the driver of the Thirsty Threes for Team Penske in the IndyCar Series, Scott McLaughlin. He is going to be, of course, next seen at WorldWide Technology Raceway coming up on June 15th in prime time on Fox.
Yes, sir.
Cole Money Cusimano is going to be there with Crash Gladys. Excited for that. So Scott
pumped.
McLaughlin is going to join us here coming up in just a little bit. We're going to ask him about his first Father's Day. We're going to ask him about his beloved New York Knicks and the trials and tribulations of learning how to race on oval. So that's coming up in about 20 minutes. We're going to get into the news from last week about the possibility that we are indeed going to get Days of Thunder 2. So Cole and I are going to come up with our fan casts for Days of Thunder 2. So we have some names in mind that we want to see in the movie. Actors, actresses, whoever they may be. Stay tuned for that. That's coming up a little bit later in the show. Cole is not aware of the latest trend on the internet called ethical wheel.
Nope, not at all.
Cole's not seen this at all. Cole's been busy typing away on his laptop for something that's going to show up here soon. If you want to, what's coming down the road? You've been teasing it on Twitter.
Yeah. So I got a feature coming out in the next couple days. Going to be featuring Kyle Taraska. He is a grassroots racer from the Northeast area, my humble abode of New Jersey, actually. He is now also spotting part-time as a second spotter for Trackhouse and Shane Van Gisbergen. He has a really unique, unconventional path to where he got to today. In the racing world, he does three-quarter midgets. He also has a really cool friendship with spotter and veteran championship-winning spotter Josh Williams. So you get to learn more about him and his path to now working in NASCAR, living out his dreams. So I've been chasing this story for a long time. Pumped out to get.
Looking forward to see that. And where can the people read that when it comes out?
That will be on Raceface Digital. So I'll pump that out here probably Friday or Saturday whenever my friend Jacob Seelman gets that thing edited away, but it's looking good. Really happy with how it came out.
Excited to check that out. Cole Cusimano back into the writing business after spending so much time here on the TV and the internet with us Speed Freaks.
Yeah, definitely.
I will leave the writing to you, homie. I like to talk. That's why we're doing this show live on YouTube right now. Thanks for everybody for joining us. We do have a comment in the chat because I titled this very intentionally, Kyle Larson is NASCAR's new most popular driver. And we may have a good indicator that may be the case. Chase Elliott has won most popular driver multiple years in a row, and we always wonder why that is the case. We've talked about that multitudes on this show. Chase Elliott last year was the #1 overall in merchandise sales. Kyle Larson is your new #1 in merchandise sales so far in the year 2025. Cody, go ahead and put up the graphic here. This is NASCAR Holdings top merchandise sales for the 2025 season so far. And this is a change, again, compared to last year. Kyle Larson is your new #1 in top merchandise sales, as I just mentioned. Some other names on that list that we'll get to in just a second for other reasons. But what do you think, Cole? Is this an indicator that Kyle Larson is going to be come December, November? Is he going to be the new most popular driver in NASCAR?
I think if it wasn't rigged, he would have been most popular driver for the last 2 years. And honestly, since he came to Hendrick Motorsports, I feel like he's been on that trajectory to being the top most popular driver. I mean, obviously we can go on and on about how he's the modern day GOAT and all those things, but just he's so great for the sport. He's so great at what he does, and I think that the sales are a great indicator that that could be what's to come at the end of 2025 once the season wraps up. But again, I'm just surprised he has not been the most popular driver yet.
I agree. I try to get the people fired up about this on a consistent basis. The Chase Elliott fans, I still don't think they actually exist. I've said that before. I've said that before. And I'll say it straight to camera again here. Chase Elliott fans, come at me, bro. Tell me you exist. Last time I said this on TikTok and on Instagram, I only see about 2 or 3 of you coming at me and be like, oh, we exist. That's not what happens when you're the most popular driver. You don't have 2 or 3 people in your comment section. You have hundreds, dozens of people in your like, what do you mean? I'm a Chase Elliott fan. So the fact that Chase Elliott fans don't, I've seen it. Cole, you've seen it.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Phoenix Raceway, any races you've been to, you were at Las Vegas earlier this year too. Like, which driver did you see the most merch from on fans?
It's usually all Ryan Blaney, all Kyle Larson. I mean, I see Chase Elliott fans, obviously, but they're not nearly as many as the Larson fans, the Blaney fans, even Dale Jr. fans, who's still in the top 10 for merch sales. But it blows my mind, honestly. And you want to say that all these votes are from being grandfathered into Bill Elliott and his fan base, but like, those fans got to be older by now. I don't think they're the ones voting for most popular drivers. So that's why I feel like it's kind of rigged, and it probably isn't. But like, that's the only way it makes sense to me, because he doesn't have much personality. You see these freaking social media posts from Hendrick Motorsports on their channels, and like he's so bland, he's so dry. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And that's nothing against Chase Elliott. I like him as a person. I think he's a great driver, but yeah.
I agree with you, dude. Like the one video that I think you're talking about the most is the one that you sent to us in the group chat. I don't remember if we put this out on the SpeedFreaks Twitter account or not, but it was I don't know, probably about a month and a half ago or so, and they were like, "Oh, hey Chase, we have a bunch of your old fire suits. Go through these fire suits and tell us about all your memories with this." And he just goes through like, "Oh yeah, that was 2022.
Oh, that's the old logo from Napa. This one, yeah, I think I won this race with that one." Like just going through them like his closet. I'm like, come on, man. Come on.
Uninteresting fashion of all time, Chase Elliott. But yeah, he's your most popular driver. But I agree with you. I really do think that this year is Kyle Larson's year to take that over. Even in the IndyCar race, I could at the Indy 500, I could not tell you how many Kyle Larson fans I saw. Hell, even on my flight back, I flew out of Indianapolis to DC, and then DC to Charlotte. So I went to I spent a lot of my day in the 2 biggest cities from the Hendrick 1100, as Team Hendrick called it. And so I went to both of those cities, and I saw multiple people wearing Kyle Larson Aero McLaren or Kyle Larson Hendrick 1100 merch on the flight. And they were selling like hotcakes there at his merch hauler. Crash and I even went by because we wanted to see if they had any more of Audrey Larson's bracelets that she made for the Indianapolis 500, which was really cool. And they were gone. They were gone in less than a day by the time we showed up to get them. So, yeah, I really do think that Kyle Larson's going to take that over now.
Yeah. And it's not just NASCAR. Yeah. Like, he has a following in dirt racing, obviously, now IndyCar, and he has so much reach to all different forms of motorsports, so it just doesn't make sense to me why he wouldn't be the most popular driver.
Because it's not you don't have to prove you're a NASCAR fan to vote on this thing. You just show up at NASCAR.com and press vote. That's all you got to do, right?
Right, exactly.
That's pretty easy. So all the dirt fans, all the IndyCar fans, show up and vote. NASCAR.com. And make Kyle Larson the most popular driver this year. I want to go to our comments real quick. Big Glenn weighing in. Thanks for watching us, Big Glenn.
Go Knicks.
I hope you're able to go see the Indianapolis Pacers in the NBA Finals. That's going to be awesome. I'm rooting for them to beat Oklahoma City. Should be a lot of fun. But yeah, Big Glenn weighing in here. He says, "I'm an Elliott and Hendrick fan, but I'm not coming at you guys." There you go. See, they exist. They exist.
There we go.
Why did I not know that you were a Hendrick fan, Big Glenn? I did not know that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Something new every day. Glenn does say that he wants Larson to take it over. Brian also weighing in. I think this is an interesting topic too, to kind of transition away from the most popular. Brian says he may not be considered the most popular, but Denny Hamlin is the most important driver in and for NASCAR.
I definitely agree with that. Absolutely.
Agreed 100%.
He's just a great ambassador for the sport, and just the way he is so blunt with everything, all the problems circulating, and trying to grow the sport and make it better. I think is very essential. It's similar to a Dale Jr., which I'm sure is going to get a lot of heat in the comments and from viewers at home, but it's true. It's a fact. He's essential for the sport and its growth. He's doing so many good things with 2311 as well, bringing in new eyes. So I could not agree more.
I'm 50-50 on it. Let me explain why. I don't think he's the most important now. I think he's second. He's second. Current drivers, yes, he 100% is the most important because he is such an important voice. He is the podcast that you watch every week. You go and you watch Denny Hamlin's podcast because he has such great insight, and he is the one that is willing to call out NASCAR on their garbage BS every week. And you just don't get that in any other sport where you're going to have an athlete call out Major League Baseball or call out the National Football League, right? Because they're all in line to try and make big money for their big business, right? So currently, yes, I'd say he's the most important. But overall, that's Dale Earnhardt Jr. still.
No question.
It's still Dale Earnhardt Jr. Absolutely. He is he's probably the most recognizable. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Cody. We got a big Budweiser. Oh, hello. There we go. There it is right there. My Vanna White. He's still the guy. Statman used to say this all the time, too, which is, that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is more important out of the car than he was in the car. And I 100% agree with that. He has built Dirty Mo Media into a mega empire now. He is, again, in the NASCAR industry, you listen to 2 podcasts every week, Jordan. You listen to Denny Hamlin and you listen to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Wait, what about Holler Talk?
Holler Talk, too. My favorite podcast. I was listening to that on my way in today, actually. But yeah, you see how impactful he is on the Amazon broadcasts. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. to me, still the most important driver in and around NASCAR.
Easily.
And you saw in a lot of people how much people love the Earnhardt documentary on Amazon too, which was great. I know Cole hasn't had a chance to finish that yet, so finish it by Sunday so we can talk about it on Sunday.
Definitely will, for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of prioritized the Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens documentary. I was waiting for my dad, to be fair, to watch the Earnhardt one, but now it's getting too late. I'm getting antsy, so I'll get that finished.
You're
definitely
telling
by
me,
Sunday.
as a NASCAR podcaster and show writer, whatever you want to call yourself, that you prioritized Paul Rubin over the man in black, Dale Earnhardt?
Listen. I'm a massive Pee Wee Herman fan. But
you work in motorsports. I think you're a little bit bigger fan of racers than you are Paul Rubens.
I am. But my only argument against that was that I was waiting for my dad. I like to wait for my family or whoever, friends, to watch certain things with me. I'm big on that. So it's been too long, though. So, Dad, if you're watching this, your time is up.
Get on it, because I want to talk about it on Sunday. I want to dive.
I do too. I've been dying to watch it, man.
I want to dive into it because thank you, Amazon. thank you, Amazon, for your 30-day free trial. I appreciate that. So I was able to tune in and watch the races on Amazon, which have been great so far. So anyway, so we'll talk about that on Sunday night. Just a heads up, on Sunday night, Kenny and Crash are on vacation. Obviously, that's why they're not here on Horsepower Hump Day. So Cole, myself, Cody Big Johnson behind the ones and twos, whose voice you were just hearing. He's the disembodied voice today. Behind the glass, which I just find so funny. It's like, you know what it is, Freak Nation? It's like Cody's like the voice of God today. So he can just
I like that.
Just come in and just say something, and you can be the voice of God. Say something fun. Anything. I don't care.
This is really on the spot. Damn.
Yeah. That's not.
I guess that's not very fun, but it's the voice of God, so live with it.
There we
Channel
go.
your inner Morgan Freeman, bro.
I don't think I'm allowed to do that.
Make myself laugh. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate that. Lost my train of thought. What do we have next here? Speaking of Kyle Larson, he was originally scheduled to go race in Australia, right? And it was announced this week that it is no longer going to be the case. I'm going to read a little bit here. Larson was set to contest the Supercars event as a wild card with Prema Air Racing, as well as tackle the circuit speedway aboard a Jason Pride Motorsport sprint car. However, the NASCAR Cup Series champion has now informed key stakeholders that he will not be going ahead with the plan. The decision comes off of the back of course, Larson's attempted Indianapolis 500 Coca-Cola 600 double. And again, this is the Adelaide Grand Final, which was scheduled for November. in the Supercars series.
Oh, wow, November?
Yeah.
Is it after the season ends?
I'm assuming it's after the season ends, yeah.
Huh, interesting.
So he has spoken publicly about his desire to contest Adelaide Supercars and sprint car races as recently as late April, nominating it as his next bucket list challenge in motorsport. So this is just a product to me. Like, I think you can tell, Cole, that this Indy 500, Coca-Cola 600 double, and racing sprint cars and owning high limit racing really took a toll on him this year. You could tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was clear as day. Like, he looked very, like, just tired, defeated. And you don't see that a lot from Kyle Larson. You know, he races pretty much 7 days a week. But I think Kenny and Crash brought up a good point in that John Edwards is not there to kind of, like, handle the scheduling and be there for him and do all these things surrounding racing for him, scheduling-wise. And, yeah, I think that took a big toll on him. But I was going to say I thought it would maybe be because the double took so much out of him. But being that it's the end of the season and NASCAR wouldn't be going on, it kind of puzzles me a little bit. Yeah. So, I don't know. That's weird.
Larson regularly goes to Australia to race. Like, after the NASCAR season, he's done it multiple times.
Really? Okay.
He's had a couple gnarly wrecks over there, too.
Huh.
But I think he raced midgets and sprints over there.
Yeah, actually, yes, that's true. Because he was also, there was, at the Indy 500 Media Day, there were some people from Australia who came and asked Kyle about that, about racing back in Australia. And he was like, yeah, I haven't done it in a while, but I'd love to do it again. I don't remember his exact quote, but this was before his announcement that he was not going to be partaking in the Supercars event. So kind of bummer for the people of Australia, and bummer for us as race fans, too, that we're not going to be able to see Kyle contest the Supercars race. Go ahead, Cody.
It's not super surprising, being that it's a completely different discipline. He's very comfortable in a sprint car. He's not in a supercar. I don't think he's ever driven one. I'm not certain, but it's just completely not his discipline.
But, like, you also hear that the supercars, they race fairly similar to the next gen, and that's why SVG adapted pretty quickly on the road courses. I mean, that's what I've heard. I can't speak to it as not a driver, but, like, I don't know.
I think SVG's his own animal.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. There's a couple other guys coming over from supercars that are going to race Mexico City, I believe, in the Xfinity Series. I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but yes, that name sounds familiar.
I think he's coming
back. Will Brown, I believe, has done it in the past, and I don't know if he's doing it again here in 2025 or not.
He is. He is. Mm-hmm.
So that'll be RCR. Right.
I believe it was. Yeah.
So unfortunate for us as race fans that we don't get to see Kyle Larson go to a supercar and dominate over there.
Yes, seriously.
Supercars are cool, man. You can see the Supercars series on Racer Network, by the way. Did you know that? Yeah.
I did not know that.
Because I was covering a Supercars race for Racer earlier this year, and it's cool, man. Like watching those cars. It's a super competitive series, and so it's taking on those tracks over there in Australia. So I'm bummed that we're not going to be able to see Kyle Larson take that on. All right, we can move on, I think. Speaking of the Indianapolis 500 and the double, no longer will we get the Monaco Grand Prix, the Indianapolis 500, and the Coca-Cola 600 all on Memorial Day Sunday. This year was the last year that is ever going to happen. Previously, Monaco was not on the same weekend as the other two. As far as my research was concerned, Monaco has been on Memorial Day Sunday since about 2003. So this is a fairly recent development that this has been going on. But the ratings for the Monaco Grand Prix this year were astronomical. It was one of the most watched races in Formula One history live here in the United States. And then the Indy 500 obviously blew up with the ratings. 7 million people watched that. And then the ratings for the Coca-Cola 600 were actually pretty surprising as well. So that is no longer going to be the case. So according to The Athletic this week, it was reported that in place of Monaco on Memorial Day Sunday, it very well could be replaced by the Canadian Grand Prix happening on Memorial Day Sunday. Now, do you see where this could start to be a problem? Because Indianapolis and Canada are in the same Eastern time zone. So do you see where I'm getting at here, Cole? Is we might have an issue here where we might actually get Formula One having the balls and the tenacity to go head to head with the biggest race in motorsports. As somebody who's like new to F1 and fairly new to IndyCar, does that not sound insane from a business perspective? Going head to head with the biggest race on the planet is just insane to me. I can't wrap my brain around it.
It definitely sounds pretty crazy, and I think that F1 will take a hit with that. However, what I will say is, you mentioned that Monaco was introduced on this date about 21 and 22 years ago. So it hasn't been that long, but when I think of F1, I think of Monaco. I feel like it's a very prestigious race or a very highly regarded race in the F1 world. However, having watched that race flag to flag a couple weeks ago, I was extremely unimpressed. I was bored out of my mind. So I'm actually all for it. I think that Canada will put on a better show, hopefully. So I think that's a positive and progressive move. However, I do think they're going to take a hit going head-to-head with IndyCar. And maybe this is me reading too much into the Memorial Day aspect, but having a race, I don't know. Never mind. I'm going to scrap that.
Okay, sure, yeah. It's so stupid. What this is to me is it is Formula One and their new owners, Liberty Media, have their hubris and their ego has really taken hold over the last 4 or 5 years since Drive to Survive came out, and they have tried to take over the United States market, right? Yeah. There's only one race in the United States up until 2022 when Miami came in for the first time. Now there's 3 out of 24 races on the calendar here in the United States. And we see that the ratings are fairly good now for Formula One in the United States. They put out the ratings for the Spanish Grand Prix, over 1 million viewers for a race that starts at 9 o'clock in the morning on cable. Again, those are numbers that IndyCar that's what they're trying to get to, is 1 million viewers, and Formula One is doing that, and they're doing it really easily now. So this to me is trying to go head to head with Indy 500. It is ego and hubris on the part of Liberty Media. It's insane, it's stupid, and it's going to bite them in the ass. Mm-hmm. It will bite them in the ass. Unless the only thing that I could see them possibly doing is if the Indianapolis 500 moves up an hour and then the Coca-Cola 600 stays where it is, and you could fit all 3 races in, right? Because there's about an hour and a half, 2 hour gap in between the 2 races. It only takes about 90 minutes for a Formula One race. So if they did that, that would be smart and genius. And you would go bam, 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 back to back to back, just like they did. And I hope that's what they do. But they try to go head to head, they are going to lose. They're going to lose, and it is going to bite them in the ass. And it is, and you'll start to see, at that point, I think you would say that Formula One has hit its peak, and it's gonna hit a downturn from there. Because I saw a comment, Cole, about this, and they compared it to NASCAR's hubris in the early to mid 2000s, right? Where you were getting 100,000+ people at Bristol Motor Speedway 2 times a year back then. And then 5 years later, that evaporated to the point where we saw Bristol this year and nobody showed up. Right. So that's because NASCAR got too big for its britches. They tried to grow too big too fast, and it bit them in the ass. And now, they are where they are now, and they've kind of risen back up to that 2.5 million viewers per race. Mm-hmm. But that's what Formula One is trying to do to themselves. They're going to try and turn themselves into NASCAR 2.0. And they're going to crash out eventually. I think that's a shame for both the Indy 500 and for Formula One if they're trying to go head to head. Agreed.
Here's my question, real quick. So you mentioned there's 3 races in the U.S. now.
Yeah.
Miami, Las Vegas. What's the other one?
COTA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why not bring it to the U.S. and put it at Vegas, or I guess not Vegas because that'd be a night race, but why not COTA? Because it'd be in a different time zone, then okay.
It's in the middle of the summer.
I guess
in
that
Texas.
checks out
they
then.
ain't doing that.
Okay, never mind then. Scrap that.
Because I'm glad you kind of brought this up away because again, diving into the weeds here, but part of the reason why they want to move Monaco is to make the travel easier. Because what they were doing is essentially they were splitting up the European schedule. So they were going over to Miami in May. But then they went back over to Europe. So what they're trying to do is kind of keep it in North America in May, and then they go after that. Then they come over to Europe for most of the European schedule over the summer.
Okay.
And then they'll come back for COTA and for Mexico City, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the reason why they changed Monaco in the first place.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I really hope Formula One backs off of this and they figure out a different idea for this, because it's going to bite them in the ass. And it's too much ego too quickly, and they're going to see a fallout from that eventually. I want to get a comment here. Cosmos weighing in. Thanks for watching, Cosmos, and tuning in. Saying that Kyle Larson is running high limit tonight at Red Cedar. 410 sprints are the superior form of motorsports.
Will it get rained out, though? Will it get rained out?
That's so true.
Please no. Please no.
Go ahead, Cody.
I'm done with the rain. They can't get a midweek show in to save their ass. Not 1 week. I'm over it.
Yeah, it's so stupid. Cody will in our group chat with SpeedFreaks. I feel like we get a text every week that's rain out, rain out, rain out, rain out. I think that's such a shame. As somebody who Cosmos, I actually went to go see my first sprint car race earlier this year for the first time here in Arizona, and it was great. And I had a great time, and I hope we see more of it. More people build more dirt tracks instead of going away like it has been over the last couple of years. So
yes, if you're listening, Arizona tracks, please bring sprint cars back to Arizona, please.
There won't be rain here.
No
That's
rain.
for sure.
It's dry. Bring the water truck full.
Ain't that the truth? I mean, again, Cosmo, that's one of the reasons why, we had a debate a few weeks ago. If you go back on our channel, we compared Kyle Larson to Alex Palou and who was the better driver. Alex Palou went and won the Indianapolis 500, the biggest race there is. And so I said at the time, Kyle Larson was, but I think no, because Alex Palou won the biggest race in IndyCar that is now P1 now.
But Larson wins in everything.
No, that's the thing. Yeah, not to rehash that, but if you're restricting it to primary discipline, Alex Palou,
you
by far.
even said Alex Palou, so you can't change your mind now.
But that's IndyCar specific.
Yes.
And if you're comparing Kyle Larson to NASCAR specific, I would say no. But Kyle Larson wins in dirt cars. He wins NASCAR. He can race IndyCar. He's a monster.
He signed up to race a supercar because he thought he had a
that
chance.
Too. Yeah, exactly. That too.
Exactly. Which is very, very. I think that's one of the coolest things about Kyle Larson is he's a racer's racer, and I'm going to bring this up with Scott McLaughlin here in just a few minutes about just that ability and that willingness as a race car driver to just hop in anything and just want to race as opposed to drive. I think there's a big difference. Anyway, Cody, if you want to ready up Scott McLaughlin so we can get into that here in just a minute, just give me the thumbs up when you got it ready. Scott McLaughlin joined us from WorldWide Technology Raceway in St. Louis. They are just, what's today's date? Today's the 4th?
Yep.
Yeah.
So 11 days.
11 days away from the first ever Sunday primetime night race. And it's going to take place at WorldWide Technology Raceway, 8 p.m. Eastern on Big Daddy Fox. Cole is going to be there with Crash Gladys. And one of the drivers you will be able to see at WorldWide Technology Raceway coming up on June 15th on Father's Day is the driver of the number 3 car for Team Penske, Scott McLaughlin. He joined us here earlier today. Freak Nation, it is our pleasure to be joined by the wheelman behind the Thirsty Threes at Team Penske in the IndyCar series. It is Scott McLaughlin here in the Freak Nation. And Scott, I want to kick it off with this. Hanging out in St. Louis, obviously, ahead of the June 15th Sunday night race at WorldWide Technology Raceway. And this is going to be a special race for you, right, Scott? Because this is going to be your first Father's Day, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, so first Father's Day, what a time to be able to go to a racetrack and experience, Father's Day, my first one at the racetrack. I mean, that's our life. It's my life. And if you had asked me what I want to do for Father's Day, it would be driving an IndyCar because I just love the sport. So, really cool.
Do you have any set plans? Are you going to celebrate Father's Day ahead of the race weekend? Or are you going to do it on that Sunday? Or are you going to wait a little bit?
The plan is to win the race. So that's my plan. So, and then if I win a race in front of my daughter for the first time on Father's Day, I mean, I feel like it's just a moment, right? So we don't take anything for granted. But I certainly feel like this is an opportunity to do something really cool.
I thought it was cool. Myself and Crash, we were hanging out, around the kind of driver's intros area before the race and seeing you and your daughter being able to kind of celebrate the Indy 500, because that was her first Indy 500, right?
Yeah, it was. It was her first one, her first month of May. It was actually like, so before the race, you go into that green room and there's, all the drivers, the celebrities that are there. Like, it's funny, you sort of like brushing shoulders with Tom Brady, which is like weird, but very cool. But I was like, there was way too many people in the green room. So I went upstairs to a really quiet spot and, I'm going to do it every year now. I'm not going to tell anyone where it is, but it was the best thing I ever did. But I hung out with Lucy, and it was just surreal. Unfortunately, obviously, the day didn't go that well after that. But when you go back to the bus, you see your girls. That's all that matters.
Earlier this week, Kenny and Crash were talking to Kyle Kirkwood, who obviously won in Detroit, and one of the questions they asked Kyle was, should the IndyCar series continue this post Indy 500 kind of bump? They had 7 million people tune in to watch the Indy 500 this year. Should they continue going to Detroit in the first week after the Indy 500, or should they continue that oval momentum and go to a place like WorldWide Technology? What are your thoughts in terms of post Indy 500? Where would you like the series go in that first post 500 race?
I don't think whether it's I don't think it's either an oval or a road course, street course. I think just having the momentum of racing. I mean, we're going to a street circuit. We were at a street circuit in Detroit. We're going to be here in a week's time at Gateway, which is always probably our most exciting race of the year. So, I'm very excited to get back onto it. But I think having that momentum, regardless of where you go, doesn't matter road course, street course, whatever. It carries that momentum from the 500. And, I think we had 1 million people that were racing, watching us on the weekend. Just keep it going.
Awesome. Scott, I got to ask, as a racing fan, I've always been a big fan of night racing, just the aesthetic, seeing the cars under the lights, it just looks awesome. From a fan perspective, I'm curious, as a driver, is that something you enjoy? Do you like racing under the lights?
Yeah, I do. I think the cars really perform well, and the racing, you got a little bit more grip, so you can sort of get that second groove going a little bit. So it's been a while since we ran Gateway, at night. I think it was 2021 was my first race that we did it, and that was fun. And I think it's going to be an awesome idea because one, Father's Day, you're straight after the US Open with the golf, and then you've got a beautiful night at St. Louis where most likely probably going to be like mid-70s, like it's a perfect night. You're not getting burnt by the sun for the fans, so much entertainment. So, I think it's a really cool thing and something I'm really excited to be a part of.
Very nice. I'm curious, you kind of alluded to it there, one of the themes being an additional groove being formed. What are some nuances that you as a driver face racing at night compared to in the daytime?
I guess you could say vision. No matter how many lights you have out there, it's kind of hard to spot, marbles, like black marbles, like the grip off the tire, when I guess when it's night, it's just how it is with the color of it and the contrast. So, learning when that second group is coming in and trying to be one of the first people up there, because ultimately the first one is normally the guy that benefits the most. So, yeah, that's a tough thing about the night racing part, but everyone will get an idea of it pretty quick.
Yeah, I want to follow up on this kind of with the oval racing idea. Coming over from supercars, that was obviously had to be a big transition for you to learn some of these short ovals. Was that fun for you to race something like a WorldWide Technology for the first time and really get those high speeds on those short ovals? Like that was I went to the Phoenix Raceway race many years ago, and I couldn't believe how quick you guys were going by in this mile over. It was like whipping my head back and forth. So was it fun for you to learn ovals for the first time coming over from supercars?
Oh, super fun. I mean, I probably prefer ovals now over running clip course and street course because it's just it's so different, and I enjoy the challenge of it and the intricacies to be fast and race these cars on this track at that speed. But I've always looked at like Gateway as like it's just two road course corners, it's you've got a 1 and 2 is quite tight, and then 3 and 4 is like really, really fast. But it's the way you drive it is very similar to how you would a road course, and that's the mentality I've always sort of gone into it. So it didn't feel too foreign. It was just like they're just two road course corners, and just let it eat, and that's it's fun.
You stepped into some legend cars too. I saw this week. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I'm doing the summer shootout. So Bubba Wallace, I'm good friends with him, and obviously Shane Van Gisbergen's over here now, and we were just doing it. Me and Shane are kind of like teammates. Well, Bubba's a teammate as well. We run out of the same team with Joe Ryan, But yeah, it's fun just to do more racing, and I think I'm racing Keelan Harvick, who's 12 years old, which is pretty fun, and he's running rings around me, which is hilarious. But you know, it's a good chance just to let your hair down, but also do some racing at the same time. And yeah, looking forward to racing every Tuesday for the next sort of 12 weeks.
That's awesome, dude. It's like that's like a racers mentality. Is that like you'll just talking to you here? It sounds like you'll just hop into anything, right? And
I enjoy like just jumping in a car and trying to find out how to drive fast. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. Only thing I'm sort of not allowed doing is dirt, and I'm fine with that. I think one day I can try dirt at like maybe when I'm retired or something. But you know, ultimately this asphalt oval and the Legends car is completely different to what I've ever done, even compared to the oval on the IndyCar. So learning the car has been a lot of fun.
We asked Joseph Newgarden about running the double at the 500 as well, and he brought up your name as a possibility to run the 500, 600 double. So I'm sure you've been asked about this all the time. So you're probably sick of us asking it by now, but we got to ask it as a follow up to this. You know, would you do it?
Oh yeah, man. Like, I would do it, but I think I've got a few boxes that I want to tick here in IndyCar first. I think, and I know it's a boring answer, but it's definitely something I'm really interested in doing. But I think I owe it to RP and the team to focus on what I'm doing here in IndyCar, and then the rest will follow. I mean, if I win the 500 at some point in the near future, that's it immediately would start the talks. I think for me, because you know I've achieved that goal. I sort of don't want to take away from the effort and the time it takes to win that race, because there's a lot. And take my focus and race the 600 as well. Kind of, if you look at Larson, like he was burnt out from doing it the last couple of years, and I need to make sure that I've won this big race and ultimately the one that I want to win the most before I even think about you know, moving on to something else and doing something crazy like that.
That's so cool to hear. And I feel that win is coming because you're no stranger to winning on ovals in IndyCar. You won 2 last year, if I'm not mistaken, at Iowa and Milwaukee. So what does it take to win on these disciplined oval tracks, and what's it going to take to win here next week at WorldWide Technology Raceway?
Oh, look, it's just a lot of, like I said, the intricacies about learning each oval. I think Iowa and Milwaukee and Gateway are completely different to each other, but in some ways there's some similarity to the way you drive. So I think it's just not over, I guess, complicating things, simplifying a few things, and you know, just at the same time just wheeling it. You know, you just gotta put your nuts on the dash and send it. You know what I mean? So that's just how it is, and it's a lot of fun.
Gotcha. And I got to ask, looking at the broad scope of this season so far, obviously it's no secret Alex Palou's been outstanding. You know, he's won all these races. You got 2 winners in total, and him and Kirkwood. So when you have a season like this through 7 races where you have 2 drivers, or I guess 1 essentially, dominating through these 7 starts, does that irritate you as a driver? Does it motivate you? What does that do for you as a driver when you have 2 drivers basically dominating the sport?
Oh, look, it's it. You know, sometimes, you know, you get on a roll. I think Alex has been incredible this season. I mean, Kyle, yeah, he's won a couple of races for sure, but I think he's taken the wins that he could win and start up the front and just executed. And Alex has kind of did the same, but he's also won races that he shouldn't have as well. And it's amazing that he's done that. It's incredible to watch. It is frustrating from my point of view, but you have to learn from it. You have to be, you know, understand, well, where are they better and where I need to improve. And you know, I think, you know, my start of my season's been pretty strong, but unfortunately, there's one guy that's won 5 out of 6 races, so I'm myself a long way behind. But don't overthink anything; just keep going, and you know, just hopefully it all comes together towards the end of the year.
A long way to go. You were my preseason championship pick, by the way, here at SpeedFreaks. I gotta ask, Richie informed me before we hopped on today that you're a New York Knicks fan. I'm repping the orange and the blue. I'm a Knicks fan as well.
Oh, nice.
Tough loss this past week, obviously. I'm curious, being out there in Indy for the 500, there's a few drivers from that area. Did you have any like friendly wagers on the series? And if so, what was that like?
No, I had plenty of wagers, and I'm definitely, my wallet's a little lighter, that's for sure. But you know, I'm a Knicks fan since I was 2 years old. My family went to New York. They brought me back a Knicks jersey, and away we went. But I just found myself in Indianapolis during that series, and it was wild. But you know, I love it. I love the Knicks, always will. I'm surprised that they fired Tom Thibodeau, but this is a racing podcast, not a basketball podcast about another day. But yeah, love sport and really enjoy it.
Scott, no, that's okay. We're called Speed Freaks for a reason. So this is my last question. Put on your Charles Barkley hat like you're on TNT, and Scott McLaughlin is the newest NBA on ESPN TNT analyst. Did you or did you not like the firing of Tibbs as head coach of the New York Knicks?
I'm torn because I think we do need something different, but he's done so many good things for us. I think Tibbs ran our starters out, didn't really pay too much defense, and we got caught out. But doesn't mean he hasn't done amazing stuff for us and put us on the map. But what he's done for us in the last 5 years will get us trades and value on our team for 10, 15 years, hopefully. So, yeah, I'm sad he's gone, but I'm excited for the future.
We'll be back. That I believe.
Scott McLaughlin, he's the driver, the number 3, the Thirsty Threes in the IndyCar series for Team Penske. You can see him June 15th under the lights at WorldWide Technology Raceway. Go get your tickets, www.raceway.com. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Father's Day. Congratulations on being a dad for the first time. And we'll see you at WWT Raceway here in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. See you guys. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cheers, boys.
Was Scott McLaughlin in the Freak Nation. Thank you, Scott. Thank you to our friends at WorldWide Technology Raceway for hooking us up with that interview. He's a cool dude, Cole. I like him.
He's awesome. I'm happy I picked him for my championship preseason predictions.
Yeah, I don't think, unfortunately, I think that's actually going to happen.
No way.
But he has a great chance. You were just talking about that. He loves racing the ovals. He finished on the podium last year, WWT. He's got a good chance. So, yeah, June 15th. We've been mentioning a lot, but we're going to keep doing it again. WorldWide Technology Raceway, www.raceway.com. You can go get your tickets and spend your Father's Day night watching some racing.
And with me and Crash.
Yes.
Who wouldn't want to do that? You kidding me?
Yes, exactly. All right, Cole. Now, obviously that interview was pre-recorded, okay? We're going to pull back the curtain a little bit because I did a little change of clothes here. And I got myself, ladies and gentlemen, a jacket. This jacket in the Freak Nation is usually right behind me here on the chair. This is what? Turn around? Yeah. Why? Oh yeah. All right, hang on. You see now?
Oh yeah. We got it.
You know? All right, perfect. There we go. So the reason why I'm wearing this is because we got the information after the release of Mission Impossible Final Reckoning.
Yes.
I almost called it Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Mission Impossible 26.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I almost called it Dead Reckoning Part 2. It's called The Final Reckoning. Good movie. Go watch it. There's a couple scenes in there that are like insane. And Tom Cruise is a maniac. Anyway, I digress. But as part of that, we found out that Christopher McQuarrie, the director of Mission Impossible, and Tom Cruise are in the early stages of production or development of a Days of Thunder sequel. And so that's why I'm wearing this jacket, Days of Thunder 2. And so I thought it would be fun, Freak Nation, if Cole and I, and Cody, if you want to weigh in on this too, do our like fan cast as who we want to see cast in Days of Thunder 2. So I came up with like some parameters here. I'm as a casting director. We know Tom Cruise obviously, but below that, we're gonna need a female lead, like a female co-lead. We're gonna need another male co-star, right? And then a villain. So we're gonna need somebody in the legacy of Rowdy Burns from the first movie. So do you have names in mind? Because I do. I spent 45 minutes last night researching this topic and coming up with names as to who I want to see in Days of Thunder 2. So I'll go first, and then you can kind of follow my lead.
Please.
So that, in case you didn't do your research, you can take my lead on this.
Oh, I'm ready to go for this, man. We're big movie guys, so
yes,
like we're ready for
absolutely.
this. Yeah.
Cody, can you bring up the picture? There we go. This is somebody's iRacing version of the Days of Thunder car. So we may see this on track in Days of Thunder 2, just like that. Cody's wearing a Days of Thunder City Chevrolet hat, which he picked up at Phoenix Raceway earlier this year. So yeah, Cody, go ahead.
Thank you, William Boring.
Yeah. Days of Thunder 2 fan. I should have rewatched it before coming in today. I haven't seen the movie in like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years.
What a shame.
I literally had it on last night, or my dad had it on, but like it got my gears turning, so I am ready for this.
I've seen it enough that if I close my eyes, I could probably watch the movie right now.
Quote it, go over your like sound effect and everything. Yeah.
At least the opening intro every sound for sure.
Big Glenn weighing in with his fan cast. He says Taylor Swift if you got enough money.
Nope.
Can you imagine? That would be, dude, they would make so much money if they cast Taylor in a movie. She was in a movie that came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah, Cats, right? Wasn't she in Cats?
She was in Cats. She was in Cats, and she was also in Amsterdam.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. I heard bad things
it
about
was terrible. They killed Taylor off in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
I got to see it then, I guess.
Spoiler.
Damn.
Hopefully they don't do that again. Anyway, okay. So here are my choices for the cast. Okay, these are some. I think these are great freaking names. Okay, you're gonna see this cast and you're gonna immediately buy your ticket. The people at Paramount are gonna be watching. What side am I? Jeez, am I on this side? There we go. People at Paramount are gonna be locked into this show, and they're gonna be like, "This is 100% right. We're gonna listen to Richie's ideas, and this is who we're gonna cast in the movie."
I'm excited.
And I also think these are actually like seemingly reasonable casts for this movie. Okay.
Yeah.
So my idea of the movie that I came up with while I was researching this for 45 minutes last night, because I had to come up with like a theory of the case as to what the movie's going to be about, so that way I can cast the characters, right? And so my idea is that Tom Cruise is, first of all, he's in his 60s now. He's not Brad Pitt, so he can't get into a race car and be believable as much as he used to be. So he's going to be an owner. Tom Cruise is going to be an owner in the NASCAR.
What did you just say about Tom Cruise?
Did you watch
Brad Pitt?
Did you watch Mission Impossible?
Yeah,
Dead Reckoning or Final Reckoning?
He can still do stunts, but like, I mean, he's not like Brad Pitt. Still looks like he's 45.
I don't care what Tom looks like. He jumped from a plane to another plane.
Yeah, yeah.
That were both working perfectly fine.
Damn right. Yeah, and that's
my man Tom can do it.
I'm still not believing that Brad Pitt is a Formula One driver, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that is a complete miscast. But anyway, I digress. So in order for Days of Thunder 2 to not do that again, Tom Cruise will be playing the role of owner this time. Okay? So he's got to have 2 drivers on his team. And so playing the 2 drivers will be Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be one of his 2 drivers.
Love her.
Okay? And she's going to be like the lead driver of the movie. And she's awesome. She's so freaking badass, man. Just go watch
The Menu, The Witch.
Yeah, exactly. She was great in the Mad Max prequel, Furiosa.
Oh yeah.
That was like that's the first thing I thought of. Was like Furiosa. What does she do? She's a badass and she drives a lot in that movie. So it's like she can be a race car driver and be a badass doing it. So she's going to be my main lead of the movie, and then her teammate in the movie, I think this is pretty much a lock that he's going to be in this movie, Glenn Powell.
Nice.
See, was he on your list too?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, he was.
I didn't even make this list, and he was on mine.
Who doesn't love Glenn Powell? Come on.
He's like Tom Cruise's protege at this point, right?
Yeah.
So Glenn Powell's a lock for this movie if he's not too busy.
Does Glenn do his own stunts though?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Acceptable then.
You can wheel a race car, absolutely. Okay, so those are my 2 leads, and then I also have the villain in mind. Now this is a little bit off the beaten path, but this is going to be like your in like honor, not in honor, but like in the lineage of Rowdy Burns, playing the villain in the movie, Daniel Kaluuya.
Ooh.
Daniel Kaluuya, who was in Black Panther. He was in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Get Out.
Jordan Peele's movies. He was in Nope as well. Great actor. And he would crush it playing the villain in Days of Thunder 2. So casting directors, if you're listening, there you go. There's your movie for you.
I love that.
Russ Wheeler needs to be the opposing owner.
Who's that? I have no idea who that is.
Russ Wheeler, the driver of the 18 car that, the 51 beats in the final act of the movie. Good Lord. It's freaking Hardee's versus Mellow Yellow in that moment.
I got nothing for you.
Russ Wheeler, the orange and blue car, Richie. What's going on?
It's been so long since I've seen the movie. I have no idea. I'm going to go to our comments real quick. Big Glenn. NASCAR popularity would boom, which is, I think, true. Like, you put a big movie like that with NASCAR behind it, it'd be like, Ricky Bobby 2.0, right? Let's see. Brad could play Dan Weldon. I don't know about that. Too old. He's way too old to play Dan Weldon. However, a Dan Weldon movie would be great.
Yeah, definitely.
Great story. If you haven't seen it, watch Lionheart on HBO. If they ever did an IndyCar one. Yeah. Okay. So Cole, give me your casting. Try and beat mine. There's no chance. This is really hot. So I'm
All right. Yeah, that was me on Sunday, bro. So Tom Cruise. I fully disagree with what you said. I think there is no way in hell that Tom Cruise would make a Days of Thunder movie and not be in a damn race car driving it around the track.
Attaboy. That's a real answer.
And one thing I know about Tom Cruise is his dedication and his passion for making movies and making sure they're accurate is just off the charts. He's going to give it 150%. So I would love to see this movie made because it'd be a damn good movie. It'd be accurate, and he would make sure that it didn't fail. But anyway, my pitch is that Tom Cruise would be in the final season of his career, obviously. I also had a team owner aspect in this as well. I had kind of a Denny Hamlin arc where he would be a driver and team owner. And for good measure, instead of having Mellow Yellow as a sponsor, Mountain Dew. Come on. I have John C. Reilly returning as crew chief. I have maybe Nicole Kidman returning. I kind of want to see that dynamic with him and Nicole.
Okay.
Well, it's just kind of returning. I also would like to see Michael Rooker return in a Dale Jr. arc. So obviously, you have the concussion in the first movie. Him going to a commentator role and maybe like a driver coach role with Tom Cruise's team in NASCAR. And then for my new casting, young hotshot driver driving for Tom Cruise's team, Timothy Chalamet. Chalamet. Oh. Yes. Okay? Like that? Like that? His love interest, one of my favorite actresses, Katherine Newton. She has like a Southern Belle look to her. Like her. Great actress. Anything she does is amazing. And then I also have, as you mentioned, Glenn Powell as the rival driver. He is a great rival, a great cast for any part in any movie. I think he'd be awesome for that role. And then as far as cameos go, I have Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Frankie Muniz, and Dale Jr. As for a plot, I didn't get that far, but I think Days of Thunder in 1990 was ahead of its time with the concussions and CTEs and whatnot. I think that'd be cool to tackle once again, being that it's a hot topic. And I think Cars 3 did a good job in shedding light on like older drivers going into retirement, making way for the next gen. So if you can kind of blend those two together, which I think Tom Cruise would do masterfully, it would make for a great product. And going off what Glenn said, NASCAR needs a movie like this with a big cast and a big budget because we got all these documentaries, obviously. The last NASCAR movie, if you want to call it, was like Logan Lucky. And we need an actual NASCAR-specific movie to make this thing boom.
I just picture Michael Rooker in a rocking chair for this movie, giving off old wisdom as he's,
like that, some
holding his
voiceovers.
head or something from that concussion that knocked him out. Even though it's been 20 years.
I feel like your version of it is a little bit more likely to happen than mine. More or less because like you're thinking of Top Gun Maverick, and that's what Top Gun Maverick brought back a lot of the old cast from the original Top Gun. So I'm assuming that's what they're going to try and do is you're just like, hey, what was successful for us? Oh, yeah, just basically make the same plot again, but give it better effects.
Yeah, exactly. Make it bigger.
Yeah. So the one thing I did see a lot of people saying and joking about this, which is like Tom Cruise is the type of actor that would like buy a race team for real in real life and enter the NASCAR Cup Series race just to shoot the movie, which I think they actually did more or less back in the original because they shot scenes out at Phoenix Raceway, and that's basically what they did for that movie is they would just like they put these movie cars like into the race more or less as like back markers to get shots that they needed for the movie. And so like, yeah, I mean, these cameras are probably so like nifty now. Like you've seen like the behind the scenes from the F1 movie, like how many 4K cameras they have set up on these race cars.
The cameras that were used in Days of Thunder original have giant holes cut in like the nose so it can be, the low ground effect shot. Yeah. It is crazy what they built on a roll car.
Yeah, back 35 years ago, right?
Right. Yeah. And there was multiple of them. There was like a Humvee looking one. There was all of the cars. There was like a gazillion things. And they were partnered with Hendrick, by the way.
Yeah, so we'll see that in eventually, like 4 years.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah,
man.
it's gonna be a while. These movies take time. He's gonna do a Top Gun sequel allegedly too. So
Not in favor of that.
So yeah, we'll see. All right, I think it's gonna wrap up the show. I don't got anything else. You got anything else?
No, not really. That was a good capper.
Cody Big Johnson, you got anything else?
Not today.
All right, cool. That's a wrap, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Horsepower Hump Day. Make sure to check us out on Sunday nights. Canadian Crasher off. So Cole, myself, Cody Johnson behind the glass. We will all be here on Sunday night at around our same 10 p.m. Eastern time slot. Don't hold us to it. Who knows? We're going to be recapping, of course, Michigan this weekend. Cole's going to have the money stop for you this week as well, coming out on Friday. We got any insight? Give me a preview of Michigan. What to expect?
Preview of Michigan. Well, Chevrolet has not won there in the next gen. You've got some drivers who are kind of coming back into the fold as far as contenders. Christopher Bell's been a lot better lately. Denny Hamlin's got back-to-back third-place finishes, so I think you'll see some JGR Toyotas mentioned. Obviously, a rise in the Team Penske Fords with Ryan Blaney being the third car in that stable to get to victory lane. So there's some good tidbits here, but I'll save all my analysis for the money stop, releasing Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time on SpeedFreaks YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Bright and early Friday morning for all your money stop inside if you want to make a little scratch.
Oh, yeah.
Put in your pocket. So Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. We'll be with you. We'll be on Racer Network. We won't be on Racer Network, but the show will be on Racer Network every Monday at noon Eastern and Pacific, and reared again at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific on Racer Network. You can check us out there. Make sure www.raceway.com. Get your tickets. Thanks to General Tire and Lucas Oil, as always, for bringing you the show. Thanks so much for watching, and I will leave you with this. It is June, so happy Pride, everybody. Have a very good rest of your day. Good night, and good motorsports, everybody.